youth and the latest age, that is the adulthood. With me, I have Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha. Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha, again counsel, mashallah, he's a representative of Kabale in the UMS General Assembly. He's a member of the executive, UMSC, and again, he's a deputy RCC Nakawa, mashallah. He's going to take us through this, mashallah. You're welcome to this.
Thank you very much, the host tonight.
Okay.
As you introduced me, I want to emphasize, my name is Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha.
A man of very many quotes.
But here I will simply maintain one or two.
Okay.
Member of Executive, Uganda Muslim Supreme Council.
Okay.
General Assembly member representing Kabale District.
Okay.
And Deputy Resident City Commissioner in charge of Nakawa Division, Kampala. It's my humble pleasure to be here this afternoon to share with the nation in this hour of Islam about the introduced topic, the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I believe at the end of this discussion, our viewers outside will have picked one or two, three things, which shall be an opener for more research. You know, when we come here, we are not custodians of the knowledge.
Yes.
We are just keys, opening up doors for people to do more research. Because Islamic knowledge has been documented in all languages across the world. So for those of us who have enjoyed the name or the favor of going to class, we have no excuse. So whenever someone comes here and shares with you, it's upon you, the viewer, to go and make more research so that you get grounded, especially on matters of Islam, because Islam is a religion where you have to speak from an informed point of view. You give your opinion when there is no guidance from the sources of knowledge as put down by the Islamic jurists and scholars. So I'm happy to be here this afternoon, and I hope we shall enjoy the show.
Sheikh, what does it take to be a sheikh, again, be doing the other work, before you go into the topic?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's quite interesting, and allow me to greet the viewers, of course. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your question is very, very difficult. That what does it take to be a sheikh at the same time as serving the other?
Sometimes our perspective, and we think that a sheikh must be directly in the line of the duties of Islam. And again, you're doing the two now, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. One, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Bada a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ درجات. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifts those among of you who have been given ilm, that is knowledge, steps. So when you are a theologian or a sheikh in that line, there's nothing which stops you from practicing any other profession. Whether medicine, whether engineering, whether astrology, or being a pilot. What is important is, are you grounded in what you are practicing or what you are doing besides being a preacher? Because even then, being a sheikh or an imam, you must have sat down, sacrifice time and accumulated knowledge. Because an imam, amma ya ummu, is to guide. An imam gives guidance, and you can't guide on what you don't know. Now, the first verse to be revealed in the Quran is in Surah Al-A'la. Quran 79. Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of Allah, the Creator, or the one who has created. And scholars have magnified the word Iqra, not to mean reading only, but to go beyond reading. Read, recite, research, study, learn, so that you get grounded. And I can without doubt, authoritatively say that I have given much time in learning. And so what makes me play using the two legs is the training I've gone through. Because I was in Saudi Arabia, Islamic University, Al-Madinatul Munawwara, for 7 years. So that grounds me in, and I pursued Sharia law. So that grounds me in Sharia and appreciation of Islamic jurisprudence. And therefore qualifying as a sheikh. But when I came back here also, I did my bachelor's, actually my certificate in law, then diploma in law, LDC, then bachelor's IUIU, then a master's in law, energy law and policy, and LDC. So I have given time.
So you're grounded.
I have amassed knowledge. And so your question is answered, that I've given in much time to ensure that I'm grounded, so that I can play on both sides.
Which is a very good.
But also don't forget that when I politicize the statement, your question, if I may make it political. Al-Islam, Deen wa Dawla. Islam is Deen, religion, and Dawla, state. So it means that you cannot separate religion from the state. You can't separate state from religion. And so my being a sheikh or an imam, and at the same time serving in the state, is qualified by the statement that Al-Islam, Deen wa Dawla. So I'm actually, it could be bad, I'm fulfilling my obligation as a Muslim to ensure that I put an effort and add value in state development, so that our people get services and get benefits due to them from the state.
You're being exemplary to the education we're talking about now.
Inshallah.
We believe that when when you're playing the two, left, right, then you can achieve whatever you want to be.
Bi-idhn Rahman.
Okay. Sheikh, let's look at the prophetic life now. He's one of the most humblest man. Okay. Then he was one of the best leader. When you compare the situation then and the situation now, in regards to leadership, what could be your take?
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in one of the hadith, very many traditions, he said, "Khudhu anni wa anni khulafai ar-rashidin." That pick from me religion, learn from the Prophet and from the 4 ordained caliphs or leaders after him. That is Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, wa Aliyun, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. So whatever is to be done by a Muslim in every aspect of life, whether economic, political, social, including leadership, and even management of our families and how we live with people should be in line with what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught, or what his companions picked from him and taught us, and most especially those four mentioned.
Okay.
But also, kana khuluquhu al-Quran. His character was Quran. So the whole Quran summed up is the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Can you break that one into so that you can be able to understand it?
Yes. So today, leaders ordinarily should be picking from the Quran, and that should be their way of approaching issues and matters. But because today leadership can be achieved not because you are the highest educated or the highest grounded in theology, Islamic theology, not the highest educated in secular, but because maybe you have resources, you are connected, you are so and so the son. People have here and there fallen short of fitting into the true reflection and character of the Prophet Muhammad
sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So, in my own opinion, and in the opinion of those who look at things as I do,
Okay.
there is quite a very big difference from the leadership we have world over
Okay.
in Islamic setup, or in Islamic setup, and what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions were.
Okay.
So your question in affirmative is there is a very big difference, because people have shifted from the Quran and the Sunnah being their true guidance to a lot of things, including ego, including personal opinions, including a lot of things.
Sheikh, when you're assuming leadership, we swear the oath by using the Quran.
Yes.
So you mean you don't live by that?
You see, we have got many Muslims who are called Muhammad, Abdullah, Qasim, and they put on Tarabusi.
True.
They put on kanzu, turbans and veils, but they only play on Eid.
Okay.
They only play on
On
Eid.
Eid,
Not even on Jummah on Friday, but they play on Eid. So likewise, people swear holding the Quran.
Yeah.
But in the end, they hold it as for authenticity, for formality, and therefore holding the Quran in swearing
Okay.
and practicing what is in the Quran, two different things.
So we no longer practice that?
I don't want to give a general opinion on that.
Okay.
But if we are practicing purely what the Quran teaches and the Hadith, then we would be marching in the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our every other engagements.
Okay.
But because at some point our egos, our individual opinions overtake the need to acquire knowledge and pick practices from the Quran.
Okay.
That is why we stray away.
Okay.
And so my individual opinion on that is there are very many who are in leadership, but not necessarily following what the Quran teaches. But there are some few who are there and they are following what the Quran is teaching. And the bottom line is, it is very important that when you start using the Quran, it becomes your guidance every
True.
day. I was in one of the congregation, and some of the qualifications required someone to be understanding and knowing the Quran. But it was overlooked. It was overlooked. That's what was overlooked as a qualification to vie for a certain position. And that person is in leadership. So do you tell me he follows the Quran when he doesn't know the Quran?
Of course he doesn't.
So those are the fewer cases I'm talking about. But the bottom line should be better that we go back to the
Yeah, actually, my question was what went wrong? Because if we have Quran, we don't follow. What went wrong, Sheikh?
You see, خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. A person was خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. A person was created when he's weak.
True, true.
Now, there are very many things which continuously enlarge our weakness, and we divert away from the Quran. And one of them could be an environment in which we live in,
Okay.
or in which we grow in. Because if I may ask you, Rashid, how many people of your generation are Hufadh al-Quran from your village?
Okay.
How many people have memorized the Quran?
Okay, actually, they are there now, but they used to be not there. But at least now,
In your generation?
yeah, at least now they are.
No, in your generation, if you say now, it means...
No, it is not. Actually, it was not.
It was son.
Actually, they are not very many.
In our generation, for
they are not
example,
very many.
where I come from, in Chigezi, you'll hardly find one.
True, true, true. Very few, actually,
You'll
very few.
hardly find one in a district, for example, if you go to a district like Rwanda or Chile, you'll hardly find one or two memorizing the what?
The Quran.
But there are always virtues for leadership.
True.
So you can't feel the virtues because people don't know the Quran. So when you feel the virtues with those ones,
At least you put there someone who is
who has got minimum
minimum.
and so at the end of the day, he will not be putting what the Quran teaches in practice because he himself is short of that. Number two, people tend to be captured by the environment they live in.
True.
And so they look at Quran as something outdated. Like if I'm a reader, why would I want to consult the Quran?
True.
But there is a constitution of the Republic of Uganda, there is a penal code, there is A, there is C, there is... See, whereas there is a penal code,
Okay.
whereas there is a constitution of the Republic of Uganda or any other country, the constitution of the Islamic faith, not community, but faith,
Faith, yes.
remains the Quran. So because people are captured by the environment they live in,
Okay.
because people are captured by the environment they live in,
Okay.
what happens is they sway away from following the Quran,
Okay.
actually putting the Quran in practice, and end up not practicing it in leadership.
Okay.
Number three, there comes a time in life when a human being must explore.
Okay.
Because a human being's mind is inquisitive,
True.
it wants to look at the unknown. They want to know what is behind the walls.
Okay.
So whereas the Quran is there to give guidance and leadership, people would want to say, but what about the other thing? Now, whenever they go to the other thing and they
Already
find-
looking for research. They want to do research here.
No, they want to practice even before researching, because for them they are looking at what will help them to take action.
Okay.
So whenever they find an environment or something written which creates a gap for them to achieve something, then the Quran becomes a secondary factor. So the inquisitiveness of a human being,
True.
the exploring mind of a human being has made us divert from the Quran as a source of guidance.
Okay.
And of course, when you come to countries like Uganda, I can say East Africa,
Okay.
whereas we are a member of the Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC, but we remain aqaliyatu al-Islami. Aqaliyatu means the minority. We
Okay.
remain minority in East Africa and particularly in Uganda.
Actually, Uganda, we are minority now.
They are called aqaliyatu al-Islam. Now, because of that environment where the Muslims are not the majority,
Okay.
you might not necessarily tie leadership to whatever the Quran stipulates,
Okay.
because there are very many things to consider.
Okay. Okay. If you want to put in place,
if you want to put in place
what you call
a leadership, a leadership which
is in line
is
with Quran.
wholly accepted by everyone. Because whereas you could be a Muslim leader at a mosque, but your mosque is in an area where you are not the majority.
True.
So whereas you are a leader within your mosque, but you remain responsible and responsive to the environment you are in.
True.
So you find yourself having shifted a bit. So it calls for azm, a lot of commitment. It calls for a lot of hikmah,
Okay.
a lot of understanding and appreciation of concept abnormally. It calls for interpretation of things to fit in the environment. Because you see, Quran shamil, al-Quran shamil, likuli azmina wal amakin and al-hawadith. Al-Quran shamila likuli azmina wal amakin wal hawadith or anawazira. Quran will always provide guidance.
Okay.
In every time or every generation. That is Zaman, Azmina. In every place in the world.
In the world.
And for every happening.
Whatever happens.
That is why in COVID-19, when people were thinking about lockdown,
already
Hadith had provided for a lockdown.
Yes.
Because in the era of Umar radiallahu anhu, when he had sent one of the greatest fighters, Khalid ibn Walid, in Sham. Sham is now the Jordan, Syria, that area. There was ta'un, there was an epidemic.
An epidemic, yes.
And Umar, radiallahu anhu, the Khalifa then, said that the Prophet had said that when you are in an environment, when you're in a place and an epidemic hits, no one enters and no one leaves.
Yeah, okay.
So
Then
Quran had given.
it means the lockdown was.
Yeah, Hadith had given guidance. Islam had given guidance prior. That means that our Sharia, our Quran, covers every generation, covers every time.
Actually, during COVID, very many things were new, but at least to the scholars like you, it was not new because things were done before.
No, things are not new. Things were
because we were surprised seeing the mosques being closed, but then when you could go to the scholars could say, no, these things have never happened.
Yes.
So it's normal. Let's be home till the situation normalizes.
Exactly. So for me, I think we just need clear interpretation of the scripts.
But then, Sheikh, clear interpretation needs mean that someone must be a very, very knowledgeable person.
It's not a must that everybody should be knowledgeable. No. ما من قاعدة إلا وعليها استثناء. There is no principle that does not have an exception. Apart from Aqidah, apart from Tawheed.
Tawheed, yes.
The pure worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that one, there are no exceptions.
Yes.
But for fiqh, fiqh is jurisprudence.
Okay.
In jurisprudence, every principle has got an exception.
Meaning?
ما من قاعدة إلا وعليها استثناء. So, the principle is men and women should go out and look for knowledge.
True.
But not all men should be scholars. So what we need is not many scholars. What we need is a few scholars who can interpret the script.
Okay.
Because your question was, then we need people to be understanding. No, you need people to guide.
To guide, okay.
You need leaders to guide. You need and so it's a two-way. People must be there to interpret scripts, but also should be willing to consult.
Okay.
That if I've got a challenge that has got a face of Sharia, a face which requires religious guidance, I should have the courtesy. I should have the humility. As you say, the Prophet was humble. I should have the humility to move out and consult.
Okay.
Rashid, if I think Rashid is more knowledgeable in that line. Even the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he could be confronted with a situation, whenever he could be confronted with a nawazira or a nazira, something which is unusual, which doesn't have guidance, he could wait.
Okay.
He could wait for what? He could wait for wahyu. He could wait for revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Jibreel would come and bring revelation.
Okay.
So that the Prophet has got an answer the following morning.
The situation.
So that humility of not answering everything is what we should borrow, either as leaders or as a community. That when you are faced with a situation,
Okay.
it's not a must that you should give it an answer yourself. That's why I'm saying it's not a must that everyone should be a scholar.
Okay.
But there should be a scholar
Who guides?
who guides. So we should have the humility and courtesy to go and consult on what you don't know. Because the Quran is clear. It says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. Ask those ones who are endowed with knowledge for that which you don't know. Even if it meant chapati, the chapati seller knows how many chapatis he will get out of a carton.
Okay, you
You can't
consult.
know it. So you have to consult him on that because the one endowed with that knowledge. So we don't need many people to understand scripts and interpret them. Just need a few who can guide. But on condition that they should be honest, they should be genuine.
When you say they should be honest and genuine,
Yes.
meaning?
You see, people have lost trust in scholars.
Okay.
People have lost trust in ulamas. Because some ulamas, not necessarily here, but in the world, they are interpreting environments and construing them to their own advantage. Or to the advantage of where they think they have a comparative advantage. Comparative advantage, I mean, someone has to interpret a situation
According to
what he thinks can benefit him, can benefit
People around him.
the side which he is on.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying people should, the scholars should be honest and genuine. Why? Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kana sadiqun amin. He was trustworthy.
True.
And he was trustworthy, but he also spoke the truth.
Yes.
Whatever
Yes,
came out of him was true, but at the same time he was trusted. People could keep with him everything, and that's why even at the building of the Kaaba, the second renewal, he was the one given a stone, even when he was not yet a prophet.
Okay.
When he was still a young man, he was given a stone to place it. The rukun, the pillar, he was given that stone to put it there because it was to be put there by someone who is more trusted.
Okay.
Look at how Khadija radiallahu anha trusted him with wealth.
True.
To move with a caravan of wealth from Makkah to Bilad Sham for business. It means the man was trustworthy. The man was honest.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying scholars have to be genuine and have to be honest.
Sheikh, let's use a comparison basis now. According to you and according to the books, Prophet was honest.
Alhamdulillah, no doubt about that.
Okay. Can we compare then and now?
Well, it is like comparing the sun and the moon.
Which,
No, they can't be the same.
are we trying to be there?
Both give light. Both give light.
Light, yes.
But one of them gives light which is hot. And has got many, many advantages. Now, if we bring it down here, whereas we are trying to be there in terms of structure, in terms of, yes, you're a leader, being on a platform, but in terms of substance, we're not there. Because you see, a Prophet was one of the people who would share a date, you know, a date, tamur.
Yes.
He would share a tamur, a date, entende, with his companions.
But these days for you leaders, you tend to
A
keep away.
leader has got a high table there,
Yes.
eating, but at his gate, there are people begging.
Okay.
And he's throwing food in the dustbin. True. The Prophet ﷺ was sleeping on a mat. People can say because maths were the style of the day. But of course, don't forget what people like Abu Lahab, Sufyan, who were rich, who were putting on kilo workers which were worth millions of money. So the Prophet was, if he had wanted, he would have aggrandized himself and became richer. Because people were bringing zakah, were bringing sadaqah. But remember, the Prophet was not eating zakah. He refused to eat zakah.
Yes.
But if he had wanted to have collected the zakah and made himself comfortable. Now, today, people are in luxury, but they are leaders.
Okay.
So there's no we can say we are where the Prophet was. But in any case, he was a prophet. And you see prophets in Islam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kana ma'asum. Ma'asum, it means he was protected from making a mistake.
Okay.
Why? Because when he was young, his heart was removed by the angel and it was cleansed of that mudugha, that kind of that blood clot, which will always tell Rashid to think otherwise.
Okay. Always think in the straight line.
Yes. So that thing was removed. So his heart was pure and clean. So he couldn't commit mistakes. And so we cannot be where he was because he was a prophet for that case.
But we can use him as our mirror.
We can use him as our mirror. But we can't be his true reflection. Because we have, as I said earlier, we are not grounded in the Quran.
Okay.
But the Quran was revealed on him. So whatever he was doing was Quran.
Okay.
Innaka ala khulqin azim. You are on the highest level of behaviors and character. That's Allah speaking in the Quran.
Okay.
Which is not us.
Sheikh,
so we can't really be a reflection of the Prophet, but we can try.
Okay. Sheikh, moving away from that point of leadership, let's look at the tolerance.
Yes.
Yeah. As in general aspect, because not only leaders, but everyone in the community. Are we still on the same line, or you diverted with tolerance?
Coming to tolerance, let me touch one important aspect in leadership. Then I move to tolerance. The Prophet Muhammad had a style of leadership.
Okay.
The style of leadership was delegation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, delegation.
Delegation.
Yeah. Could delegate.
I am on one of the platforms, and I've seen women, I've seen ladies quarreling about Qadhi courts.
Yeah,
First of all, Qadhi courts are not yet here. You don't. For us, we say you don't quarrel for milk which has not been milked. But if the cow refuses,
okay.
So they are saying now, shall we be Qadhi as women? But you see, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not in any day handle a matter of women, a matter which touches women as in within their affairs. There would always be a woman.
Okay, to handle
that matter. So that was delegation. So the Prophet was, in his administration, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, always delegated.
Okay.
And that is a very, very important aspect. And when we come back, for example, to governance in Uganda, every minister acts on delegated power. Because the president is the executive.
Yeah.
So when you look at our constitution of the Republic of Uganda, you might not find the specific roles of a minister.
True.
But you find the roles of the president.
Yes.
So all ministers are acting on delegated authority of the president. So the Prophet was also in that line of give people authority. But what was exceptional about him was he could not micromanage.
Oh.
He trusted the people that because of the time.
Sheikh, what do you mean by micromanaging? Micromanaging
is when, for example, you're a man in a home, you pass by the supermarket, you buy items, include, for example, you buy rice, you buy katunguru chumu, but you want to also see how the wife is cutting katunguru chumu. You want to see how she's mingling. That is micromanaging the kitchen. So the Prophet was not that kind of a micromanager. He was a macromanager.
Oh.
For example, when you look at the Kiswa, the story of Mu'adh bin Jabal, radiallahu anhu, whom he sent to Yemen as a Qadhi,
okay,
as a judge, He said, I've sent you to Yemen. When you reach in Yemen, I want to cut the hadith short.
The story, okay.
That when you are judging, judge according to the Quran.
Okay.
If you can't find an answer in the Quran, judge according to the Sunnah or the hadith, teachings of the Prophet ﷺ.
Okay.
If you don't find anything in the teachings, fajtahid ra'ayuka. Use your own initiative, but which does not contradict the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah.
Okay.
He didn't say that when you are in Yemen and you are confronted with a situation, travel back from Yemen,
yes,
come back to Medina, ask
and consult,
me, consult, and go back. Though the Quran is very clear. Allah says, فَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Consult them in their affairs. Consult with them. But when you are satisfied with the consultation, put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he didn't tell him to come back so that he can give him the answer. He said, Ijtihad. So Islam leadership from the Prophet was about delegate, whereas you can keep your ear, but let someone
take a stand,
take a position, as long as the point does not contradict the principles of leadership, the principles of Islam. Which is not the case today. No, today you find a leader.
Someone delegates, again he keeps micromanaging everything.
He delegates you, delegates the second one and the third one. Actually, it is called spying. Someone keeps spying on you. And that makes people lose trust in service.
The moment he realizes that someone is spying on you.
Is doing the same work he has been doing. People lose trust and say, but why should I waste my time? Why should I give my commitment? So the Prophet's type was,
after all, I'm not trusted.
Let people execute and report. Not let people inform at every step of execution. No, execute, report. If you have made a mistake, we shall guide you so that next time when you go, you don't make a mistake.
Okay. So it was minimum or maximum? Minimum?
It was ears on, eyes off.
Okay.
Yes, ears on. You keep hearing what is coming out, but don't put your eyes there on everything. Because you'll end up making people shy and bored. And you can't be everywhere. No, you cannot be everywhere unless you are God, because God is everywhere. Yes. Allah is everywhere. The second question was about tolerance.
But when I look at time, I think let's just give it 2 minutes.
Tolerance is a very, very important aspect, especially for strategic leadership. When you lead at strategic level, you must be tolerant. Because in being tolerant, you are buying time. You are buying time for making a correct decision or making a correct taking a correct position. I have liked, I was on one of the broadcasting areas in Kampala, and we were talking about corruption. Someone said, when the president was in Kororo last year, his 14th point was corruption, but he said, I've given things to God.
Of course, God has to be.
Yes, and so the person was like, but how? How do you give things to God? Now this year, I said, but you see, he was right. He put his trust in God.
First.
He tolerated the corrupt. And this year, God has answered his prayer by giving him evidence. And is now tackling corruption. Now, if he wasn't tolerant, he would have rushed. And when you rush as a strategic leader, you make strategic mistakes, which are incorrectable. You see, if my son makes a mistake now, he has got the entire life to correct a mistake. But when a strategic leader makes a mistake, you don't have time to correct that mistake. Because things keep coming. It's like a fall, rapids and falls. Water keeps coming. So things keep coming and you're overwhelmed. So tolerance is very, very important in strategic leadership.
Just in seconds, your last take to the viewers.
My last take to the viewers is one, every Muslim must exercise patience. Isbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wa taqullaha la'allakum tuflihun. You must exercise patience, and that is tolerance. Because if you're not patient, you can't tolerate. Number two, whenever you're in a position of leadership and you're confronted with a situation, always go back to the Quran. If you can't find an answer in the Quran, you go to Sunnah or Hadith, because the Sunnah is tafsir, it explains the Quran. If you can't find it in a Hadith, And you can't find it in what the companions taught, or the Athar Sahabi and many other sources of knowledge. Then ijtihad, put in your effort. And finally, Uganda is our country. Muslims and non-Muslims who have to fight to ensure that our country is seen by our great-grandchildren. There are countries which were there but have disappeared from the world map because its inhabitants never understood their role as a generation. Okay. Let us understand our role so that we can work towards it and preserve our nation, Uganda. I say all this for God and my country. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you so much, Council Sheikh Kasim Kangisha, mashallah. It has been a good discussion, mashallah. A lot have been said. Let's take it for the good of our country, for the good of our deen, for the good of our community. I'm Rashid Chwanuka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Program My School, a great students program and your answer to education perspective, giving you reason as to why you should pay school fees for a child's education with items like students' talents, thoughts, adventures and skills